Welcome in, everyone. We begin with those new developments in the Alvin Bragg DA criminal case against former President Trump. Great to have you in this Friday. I'm Bianca De La Garza.
Yeah, and I'm John Huddy. Busy day once again today. Trump is once again asking for the case to be moved to federal court. He's charged with 37 felony counts of, among other things, falsifying, or 34 in this case, falsifying business records related to the payments made to Stormy Daniels. Now, ABC News reports that the new court filing argues the alleged crimes, quote, took place while the president was in office. Trump's attorneys have accused Bragg's office of, quote, ignoring the applicable facts by seeking to keep the case in New York State court. Bragg has argued that Trump's alleged criminal conduct had nothing to do with his job as president, while Trump's team and the prosecutors have filed dueling motions over the appropriate place to hold the trial.
And President Biden is hitting the campaign trail today in Connecticut, but questions do remain about his family's overseas business dealings and those alleged audio tapes, which may or may not exist, which some say threaten to unveil a bribery scheme. Here is the president when asked about that yesterday.
Why did the Ukraine and FBI informant file refer to you as the big guy, President Biden? Why is that term continuously applied? Thanks, guys.
Why did I ask such a dumb question?
Joining us now to discuss, former U.S. Ambassador to Germany and former Director of National Intelligence, Ric Grenell. Ambassador, great to have you in today.
Thanks for having me, Bianca. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Well, so much to get to today after this truly historic week. Biden is out on the campaign trail today. You just saw his reaction when he was asked about the bribery allegations. The other day, he was also pressed as this story is getting some legs even with mainstream media, and he actually laughed about it. Let's play this clip.
Are there tapes that you accepted bribes, President Biden? Is that true?
Would you comment on the arrest of the former president, sir?
You know, I'm not sure how long the president will be able to keep dodging these questions. We know Hunter's former business partner, Devon Archer, will testify after a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee. Your thoughts on where this all stands and possibly what we could be learning from Devon Archer as it looks like the walls could be closing in?
Well, look, as we all know, that the walls are not going to close in until the media in Washington, D.C. decides that they're going to actually be journalists and ask both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, questions. And we've seen this regime media in Washington, D.C. completely cover for Joe Biden. I mean, what has taken so long? People are really frustrated. You've got a U.S. senator who's gone to the floor of the Senate saying that there are tapes that exist that clearly show that Joe Biden is corrupt and took money. You've got all of these issues coming forward, but the media are not following up. Now, one of the reasons why the Biden administration keeps getting away with all of this corruption, why the Biden administration keeps getting away with being really blinded to what the American people want and expect, is because they don't get pushback. And so when you're in Washington, D.C. and you're in the White House and the media are just not pushing you, you don't have to confront these issues. But you're right that it's starting to break. It's just starting to break right now. There are some reporters that are beginning to put some pressure on him, but at this point he just walks away and laughs and says that that's not true. And so the pressure is not there yet on camera.
Speaking of that, I know you're in D.C. now, but you actually spent the early part of this week in Bedminster, New Jersey, where the president was before he went to Miami for his arraignment. A lot of moves right now legally. We know today the team is filing to get his criminal prosecution in New York moved to the federal court. There's also Cannon's first ruling talking about the legal team having to file by next Tuesday to get security clearances for his case in Florida. With all this happening, Rick, tell us your insider's view here, how Trump plans to fight back against the charges and also, matter of factly, campaign as well. What are you seeing?
Look, first of all, on Tuesday night we had planned to have this big fundraiser for President Trump, and it sold out so fast that we actually had to open it up to an outdoor space so that we could comply with the fire department's rules for how many people could be inside. It literally was one of those situations where once the indictment was announced, we had more people coming forward to endorse and give money. It's unbelievable how much money is coming in and how much support. You see that Donald Trump's numbers are rising. I think there's a real issue right now with an implosion of Ron DeSantis. And so many people thought that he was going to be able to come forward and really be someone who could try to give President Trump a run for his money, but he hasn't.
In fact,
it's just imploded. And I think that's because people are seeing these indictments as overblown, and they're helping President Trump's message. The more the government piles on President Trump, the more people see that this is just all politics.
In fact, we saw the Miami mayor jump into the race today, to your point there. So the widening GOP primary field, some say it's not great news for DeSantis. Finally, Ambassador, before we let you go, as a former U.S. ambassador to Germany, as someone who is well-skilled in diplomacy, today we have Blinken heading to Beijing today. Any advice, any thoughts as we watch this visit unfold?
Well, Bianca, I, as you know, was acting director of national intelligence. I have a lot of friends in the intel community, and I've been told from insiders that what the intel community is getting ready to do is declassify some old information that somehow begins to say that COVID-19 did not start in a lab, that it could have been at the wet market. Now, you ask yourself, why are they doing this? And I was tweeting about this earlier. And the reason why is because Anthony Blinken is going to China. And he needs a deliverable. He needs, when he's sitting across the table from the Chinese, to be able to say, hey, look, we're trying to understand you more, and therefore we're going to talk about the origins of Wuhan in a way that's helpful to you. And I think this is really weak. I think it's a weak signal. And if you go back to the very beginning of the Biden administration's meeting, it was Anthony Blinken who met with the Chinese in Alaska. It was a disaster. It was the Chinese lecturing the United States on talking points that were used in the Black Lives Matter messaging, which is that America's racist. And when the Chinese are looking at our Secretary of State and saying, your country's racist, you're terrible towards black people, you know that the left's talking points are really infecting our foreign policy. And I think that's what Anthony Blinken is going to be confronting in Beijing. Once again, the Chinese are beating them back.
If what you say about watering down sort of the lab leak theory, which many say is not a theory, if you look at some of our government officials and even the FBI saying, pointing to that, will be interesting to see how that plays in his trip to Beijing. Wish we had more time, but we'll have you back real soon. Ric Grenell, Ambassador, great to see you.